I got all kinds of surprises for this one, actually.
On a week, so I'm ready for them.
What is up? What is up? Welcome to Beerfield Fantasy Football. Hold on. We have no video. There we go. There we are. I am your host at Hot BFF with two P's, as always, joined by Theory BFF with two F's. It's crazy out there, folks. And, a lot of people doing some last-minute shopping. Schnucks line out the door. A lot of people gifting baby formula, apparently. Given the lack of baby formula that was at Schnucks, these are problems I have to deal with now. But yeah, at Beerfield FF, Beerfield Fantasy Football on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button there. I've been really bad about that, but there's cool stuff that goes on there on Sundays. And you can jump in and interact with us and know when we record and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
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 Dan, I know, has worked 11 days, so I'm sure he's ready to have a beer and unwind and get to it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. We got a Festivus spin on today's episode. But before we get to that, as always, we got some beer.
What's fueling Beerfield?
Dan, go ahead and kick us off.
I am drinking more brewing strawberry banana double marbles milkshake IPA. Double the strawberry, double the banana, double the milk shake. Oxygen at 8%. More is out of Chicago. I can't remember what part of the bourbon city. Some sort of. But yeah, more on this later. Spoiler alert! It's pretty good.
Spoiler. Okay, cool. There's a line through the middle of your webcam. Or is that through
line?
No, that's through the middle of all of my monitors because I hit a button. That's why. I have a program installed called GreenShot, which, by the way, is great for screen grabs and things like that. But it was the marker for that. It's hotkeyed to print screen, and I must have accidentally hit the print screen key. Oh wow! I just made the worst pour of my life there. Okay, so I'm doing something different today. First time in Beerfield history, I believe. We're doing an on-air throwdown. So,
oh shit!
I got a battle of chocolate milk stouts going on tonight. I've got Blue Jean from Odell, which is
oh fuck, I have that too.
Chocolate milk stout. You have that?
Let me fucking crack one with you.
Okay.
I have it in my fridge. I got it from our rep came down and they won't let us carry it in the store for whatever. Came down and gave me.
Nice. So it's a stout brewed with chocolate and lactose. It's named after their farmer that they give their spent grains to. So if you ever brewed, you know that there's a ton of just mashy, wet grains that basically get thrown out if you don't do anything with them. In a 5-gallon batch, you're using about 12 pounds of grain. In an industrial-sized batch, you're using a lot more than that. So, one of the most popular things to do with spent grain is use it for animal feed. So that's apparently what Odell does. So that is in the Cubs glass on one side of the ring. And on the other side of the ring, you got Fulton's chocolate oatmeal milk stout.
Ooh, a little taste of Minnesota.
Yep. So, yeah, not a whole lot else on this one, really. Just from Fulton. Got it in Minneapolis. So found it down here in St. Louis. Figured it'd be good. So we're going to do a side-by-side with Odell and Fulton. Dan's apparently got an Odell too. So we'll get some tag team reviews there. And we'll get to that about midway through the show. So let's go ahead and read the news.
News.
And I am just going to read through this as it comes. Texans have interviewed ex-Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis for their head coaching vacancy.
I don't know if there's a move that can be so lateral from moving from Bob to Marvin Lewis. Like, I feel bad for Texans fans. I don't know how you feel, but that it just, I feel bad for Deshaun Watson because he can't.
Yeah, and it's one of those things to where, Lewis made playoffs, never won a playoff game. He made playoffs, made playoff teams, but the good news is that you hope that they don't put the head coach as the GM anymore, and they can help mask some of that with personnel decisions, which is where Bill O'Brien was really bad, was personnel decisions. I mean, Bill O'Brien as a coach wasn't great. Bill O'Brien, the GM, was even worse, and that's the distinction you have to make. But as far as Marvin Lewis goes, that's uninspiring if I'm a Texans fan.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
To our listeners that are Texans fans, you hope that this doesn't come to fruition.
Kenny Galladay is still not practicing. I wouldn't expect him to play. He hasn't played in weeks. Keenan Allen not practicing. Was limited. They'll rest him. Should have a expanded role. Derek Carr returned to practice. Should suit up again, but Marcus Mariota was decent. So I'd imagine Carr has a short leash with what Mariota showed.
I mean, it was one game. Granted, you're right. He looked great. He made he looked like he looked like the prospect a lot of us thought he was. Had some mishaps every now and then, but showed some nice touch, made some nice plays, and Raiders are still battling for a playoff spot. So I doubt Carr is going to be benched at any point this season for play wise, unless he just completely tanks. But this will make for an interesting narrative in the offseason.
Yeah. Something that's also interesting, Myles Gaskin activated off a COVID list. So for the first time since either of them broke out, Gaskin and Ahmed are both going to be active in your championship week.
Washington, the Battle of the Washington.
Yeah. So they have Vegas, which is a good matchup, but you're going to have to temper expectations. Because both have been good when healthy, but they have not been healthy and used together. Now, I say that to where, yes, Ahmed was healthy beginning part of the season while Myles Gaskin was also healthy, but he wasn't pressed into duty and hadn't broken out yet. So we have not seen what this backfield looks like with both of these guys healthy since Ahmed broke out.
It's you're not trusting this back. If you're playing for a championship, there's no fucking way
you're trusting
that you're going to roll out with Myles Gaskin or Ahmed and feel comfortable. Like, if you had to pick one, who would you play?
Probably Ahmed.
I'll go with the guy who's been doing it recently.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I love Myles Gaskin. I think that Ahmed's had more blow-up games. I think they are going to be a 1-2 punch. I think both of them probably will end up having flex value. But I'm going to lean Ahmed, not the guy that's just coming off of a 2-week COVID absence.
Yeah, they're going to, and then in Dynasty, trade them both.
That I agree with. What's up? Let's see. Terry McLaurin didn't practice. Ankle injury. Antonio Gibson limited at Wednesday's practice. We'll have more on them on Sunday. Won't spend a whole lot of time on guys that are limited or not practicing right now because that's what Sunday mornings are for.
I will be here Sunday.
Sweet.
It's the end of the holiday season schedule, so I am off Sunday for the most important live.
We should get all three of us for that one.
We are getting. Don't tell Nick.
I won't tell Nick. I will see. I will see what I can do about getting Zoom to go longer than 40 minutes again.
Well, it gave us free, right? Didn't it give us for free last time?
It gave it to us for free last time, and then it's popped up like promo deals and things like that. So we'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just do Hangouts and see if he picks up on it when I put a Hangouts link in there.
Probably. Tired. But we'll see.
Cordero Patterson didn't practice. Nobody cares. Tyreek Hill didn't practice. Probably precautionary. Again, more on these guys on Sunday. Unless it's a Viking or a Saint, they play on Friday. Or who plays Saturday?
The fucking Friday? I forgot there's a Friday game.
Yeah, there's a Christmas game. It's Viking Saints.
That is the gift. Like, that's That's like a
Dolph-
terribly realistic Vikings fan. I want them to beat the Saints, but also.
Yeah, I need the Saints to win for playoff reasons. Dolphins, Raiders, Niners, Cardinals, Bucks, Lions are the Saturday games. So anything that happens before Sunday, we'll talk about now. Anything that's not happening until Sunday, we're not going to talk about right. Let's see. Christian McCaffrey, doubtful to play this week against Washington. So there you go. Not a good matchup for Mike Davis either.
Yeah, him and just like with Galladay, just put him on IR. Like, there's no need for my other team to rush back some of the more important players.
Yeah. Zeke Elliott on track to play against the Eagles. Don't trust him.
They should be playing the better back in $20. Anyway.
He showed it. We called it on. I know you weren't here on Sunday, Dan, but Nick and I called it on Sunday morning when Zeke was ruled out that Pollard actually was a better option, and you start him when we were saying to sit Zeke.
But it was painfully obvious. Hey, I felt the same way. Obviously, it couldn't be there, but it sounds like the show has been on a roll, which means you guys should be out there listening. Be out there tuning in, guys, on Sunday morning. We've been hot with our pick'ems.
Let's see. Lions could be without head coach Darrell Bevel. QB coach Sean Ryan would likely call plays, so they could be without a head coach for whatever that's worth. They were kind of without one for the last year and a half until they fired Patricia.
Nice.
Daniel Jones practiced on Wednesday. Dwayne Haskins took first team snaps. That was after he broke COVID-19 protocols to go to a strip club, and it wasn't for chicken.
He came out and said it wasn't a strip club. He said he went to a private event party that had strippers because it was his sister's birthday party.
So what?
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot, Dwayne Haskins. First off, weird, kind of. I'm not judging anybody, but that there were strippers at your sister's birthday party. That sounds like it probably wasn't her thing. Maybe it was. I don't know. But
we don't judge.
Yeah, I know. More power to you. But you're a fucking idiot.
Right?
COVID's a thing. You've seen what's happened with the Broncos, the Ravens. You've lost your starting quarterback job in part because Ron Rivera said you weren't mature enough to handle it. And boy, did you not do anything to help that, huh? You're completely going the way of Jamarcus Russell, but with less talent in the first place.
I don't know about less talent, but definitely both head cases. Definitely both players that shouldn't have been warranted.
That high of a pick, yeah. Joe Mixon not playing in Week 16. More on him later. Kyle Rudolph sidelined. Philip Lindsay didn't practice Wednesday. Been playing through injuries for like most of the season. Lindsay has.
Yeah. Fortunately.
Jets place Quinton Williams on IR, so that's important. Who do they play this week?
Jets play.
He's their best D lineman, so
Browns at home.
it's great news for the Browns run game.
And Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Even Baker Mayfield apparently running the football too.
Indeed. Julio Jones still not practicing, so more on that. Jalen Rager's practicing. Brandon McManus is back. Diggs practiced on Wednesday after missing the last few snaps of their game last week. James Robinson will be arrested in practice this week.
That's when you want to say to it. A difficult matchup at home against the Bears.
Yep.
At 100%, and yeah.
Gardner Minshew and Mike Glennon splitting first team reps.
Jacksonville was given a gift of the Jets fucking up and winning. There is no fucking Jacksonville will tank. That's why I don't think Robinson will play. And I think you're going to see this, like, these mixed snaps. So now their quarterback's completely ready. And then they're just going to get their asses kicked against.
Yeah.
The Jaguars will do this properly. And I'm still shocked that Gates didn't get fired. He won his game. He wasn't supposed to win. Like, he should be fired. Like he had one job, and that was to lose every game. The Lock Lawrence going to New York, he gets the boot, and he fucks that up. He fucked up losing that stuff.
Josh Gordon will not be back. Failed terms of his conditional reinstatement.
I hope the guy can get the help he needs.
Yeah, this is just going to be...
Who cares about what he's done on the field? And yeah, it's
weed.
Talk about all these chances, but there's clearly a problem beyond just weed here.
There's a problem beyond just weed here, but at the same time, it's weed. I mean...
Yeah.
So...
It shouldn't be an issue. Like, we should be a part of the medical, getting yourself back and healthy, but
he's also in Washington, so
I wouldn't be surprised if it's something more.
Well, if there is, it hasn't come out. So
yeah.
Deebo Samuel not practicing. By the way, I completely agree with your take on the Jaguars. By the way, they deserve Lawrence more than the Jets do. First and foremost. Yeah. So, and then I do think the Jets trade down at a 2.
And it does say that's been a big debate, something that we'll of course probably talk about to extensive lengths of what the Jets should do. Season's not over yet. Jacksonville could still fuck it up. So,
wow, 49ers signed Josh Rosen, who apparently was on the Bucs practice squad.
Yep.
Which actually makes sense.
Now this is the most stable environment he's been in since he's joined the pros.
Yeah,
it won't amount to anything, but at least something.
Well, you say that, but they don't have a franchise quarterback right now.
Yeah.
And they're built to succeed in a way that Rosen succeeded in college. And what I mean by that is they have an offensive line.
He's going to be protected with a strong running game, generally one of the better game plans put together, for the most part. And
it's a good flyer.
And a very good defense.
It's a good flyer by the Niners to get him in and see him, knowing that they're not set at quarterback. Well, for free.
He's a former top 10 pick.
That was
got placed
essentially free.
Yeah. I mean, he was drafted essentially to be Adam Gase of quarterbacks. He got replaced, as he should have been. Goes to Miami. Obviously struggles. Confidence is clearly a problem.
Well, and he was never good under pressure as far as, not clean pockets and things like that. And Cardinals, when he was there, wasn't built to give him a clean pocket. Dolphins weren't built to give him weapons or a clean pocket. Niners might be the most stable system he can land in.
It's not like he doesn't have talent. It's not like he can't find success. His flaws were magnified given the situations that he landed into.
Mm-hmm.
And while, as a show, the three of us weren't extremely high on him, there was some flashes. Got the draft capital that he needed, and now he lands 3 years later. What should be a better environment for him, learning from a coach that is extremely good at developing quarterbacks. And he should put him in a position, just like with Baker in Cleveland, where he won't have to do more than not lose him, not turn it, and the football off, eventually back their 3 studs all together, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, and we'll see.
Sure.
We got a question.
We do.
Marcus wants to know. I don't think I've seen Marcus's name before, so welcome to the show, Marcus. Appreciate you tuning in. Josh Allen or Deshaun Watson?
I don't know how it's not Josh Allen at this point. I know that they've got New England, which is tough, but given how good Josh Allen's been, I don't know how it's not Josh Allen.
Watson at home
against the Bengals.
A rejuvenated Bengals after beating Pittsburgh. Allen's extremely difficult to say. Been one of the best quarterbacks this year. His progression as a passer has shocked many people. I agree. I don't know how you did Allen. I mean, there's players I'd probably play ahead of him. I don't think Watson's.
Yeah, and he did have a rough outing last go out against New England.
I mean, they know that play. I mean, it's still Belichick.
He only had to throw 18 times though. So, yeah.
It's not like Cincinnati is going to push Houston. Really, based on theory, is push Houston.
Yeah, I don't know how you sit Josh Allen. Especially if you're playing for a championship, you go to you don't leave the prom with the person that didn't bring you there, however that saying goes. You go home with the person that brought you to the dance.
So over the past 4 weeks, New England's third best against quarterbacks. Cincinnati, fifth best. Matchup wise, hasn't been great.
No, I'm still going
in
with
terms of where the defenses are going.
I'm going with the guy that's been the better player and has the better team around him.
Yeah, you're going with Josh Allen. That's a good question. It's a good thing to ask. It's an important week for people. They're going to have to make decisions they would normally, not think twice about. But it's the championship. You don't want to fuck this up. So,
yep,
I get it.
Nope, I do too. 100% get it. It's a good question too, given the matchups and everything.
Yep.
Ronald Jones gonna miss week 16. So, who's the back that you want in Tampa Bay there, Dan?
Well, I want the guy that just came off of 2-touchdown performance.
Hey, LaShawn McCoy.
Look sluggish at times. His name is Leonard Fournette.
LaShawn McCoy.
I say that, and it's going to be LaShawn McCoy. Fuck, it may even be Keyshawn Vaughn.
You were pining for LaShawn McCoy last week, so
I don't think I was pining.
I will go back and play the clip if you want me to. You were on LaShawn McCoy. Why would they play Leonard Fournette, the guy they just healthy scratched?
I mean, I stand by my take. I do.
I appreciate that, obviously.
Yeah, I know you do.
I
still play Leonard Fournette in matchups too, by the way.
Yep.
So.
Mike Gesicki limited in practice. He was almost going to play last week until he wasn't. Devontae Parker limited. He did play. No, he was out too. So, I don't know. I'd expect them both back. They were game time decisions. So,
they'll play.
They should play. Alexander Madison's in concussion protocol.
Fuck Madison.
Hunter Henry's being held out right now with an unknown injury.
He played too well.
Keep an eye on that. I had a question from Morgan earlier today, by the way. Hunter Henry or Logan Thomas?
Oh, that's
a lot closer than you'd think.
Oh, well, Logan Thomas has played all year long. It's not that close, but I'm sure the answer is still Logan Thomas, but I want to look.
The answer was really either one. If you pull up both of their game logs and just look at the entire season, I mean, they've both kind of been hit or miss. You also don't know what the quarterback situation in Washington's going to be. So,
true. Pull up last 4 defense. Carolina, 6th best or 6th worst against tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is it's who's throwing them the football, and the answer is it doesn't matter because Logan Thomas gets.
Well, if Hunter Henry's hurt, it really doesn't matter. So
that too.
The other one was Godwin or Landry. I think that's Landry at this point. That was the other one that got thrown out there.
I mean, if you're afraid of game script, then maybe you want to go Godwin, but they're both playing against a team that should not.
Godwin got bailed out by a touchdown last week and duddage of the week before. I don't know how you write him.
I agree.
I don't know how you write him in championship week right now.
You don't. You're going to play Landry, play the floor, and hope that that he's a part of the couple of 2 or 3 touchdowns. I guess that's out of way.
Yeah. So, yeah, the reason that they had to sign Josh Rosen, by the way, C.J. Beathard going to start. Nick Mullins needs elbow surgery after last week. Jimmy Garoppolo's still out with an ankle injury. Going to practice, not play. And Josh Johnson is on the COVID-19 list. So,
Makes sense.
C.J. Beathard to start. He won't be relevant.
Another question. Market's back at it. Second question.
Okay.
It's a big one. You may want to take a pen and pad down right.
Hold on.
You got perfect. You got to start 3. He needs to pick 2 running backs and a flex here. It's standard scoring, non-PPR. Start 3 must be 2 running backs and a flex here. Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette. So this is the all 2018 team. Chris Carson, Jonathan Taylor, Jeff Wilson, and your boy DK. So right off the bat, you can definitely throw Leonard Fournette away because it's going to be LaShawn McCoy.
No, it's not.
It's not Bell.
No.
For sure. We could probably scratch him off.
Yeah, I'm looking at matchups right now. Hold on. So Bell's got the Falcons.
It's going to be based on Clyde South.
Fournette's got the. Bell's got the Falcons. Fournette's got the Lions. Carson has. Who's Seattle have? Rams. That's a iffy matchup.
At home though.
Yeah, and Seattle can typically run the football. Colts have the Steelers.
Look, they've looked bad against Gio Bernard and Samaje Perine. Your boy Samaje Perine went off against that Pittsburgh defense. Don't be fooled by the overall season sample. They've been bad the last.
And the Niners have the Cardinals with a backup quarterback.
You're not playing Jeff. There's too many good players on this list.
Yeah, I don't think you play Jeff Wilson because you have too many good players. I think that DK is probably your flex. I don't know.
You're not sitting DK, especially in standard. He's a big play machine.
Yeah. Actually, let me see what he did against the Rams. As far as the backs go, Steelers haven't been as good against the run. They're a little banged up in their linebacking core. So it's probably
that's one of them.
And Fournette against the Lions, I guess.
No Clyde for Kansas City. This is Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
An offense that he hasn't looked the same. Both him and Fournette are both inefficient runners with touchdowns. Pass catching. I think I would go with Bell, Taylor. I like Chris Carson, but I like Bell's. I just like the better offense and the touchdown upside.
I'm going Fournette and Taylor. I like the matchup and game script for Fournette a bit more than I do for Bell, which is weird to say too because they're both good. Hey, throw this one out there for you real quick though, just because we like to talk through this. DK last time out against the Rams, just 2 receptions on 4 targets, 28 yards.
Gonna get Jalen Ramsey. So
23-16 loss. Is there a case for playing Fournette, Bell, and Taylor?
There is.
And going up to 3 backs.
And non-PPR will get that boost. Neither of these 3 running backs are heavily involved in the passing game. And they get a lot of their production done on the ground and touchdown. DK has expanded, has his route tree. He's not just a vertical threat. He's not just a 9 guy or plant and go. Maybe this is where you can get a bit cute. With no Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think Bell has the upper echelon and touch upside. El Rojo, Fournette gets that. Fournette just put up a great game against the same Falcons defense that Bell is now facing this week. So if you like Fournette, you got to like Bell this week too. Just from what he did to them last week in the same similar offense.
I think you could fade DK against Ramsey. I really do.
Yeah, I think you have the opportunity to. I do. It's still just Wednesday. You still have a couple more days to make. This is important. We obviously want you to win your championship. So, if you sit DK, just be aware. That dude can blow up in any game.
Yeah, he absolutely can. Didn't look great last time out. Let me check one more thing on the Rams here before I give a final answer. I just want to make sure what this important as this week is that we're turning over every rock we possibly can. Let's see. Looking at Rams are giving up the fewest points in the league to the wide receiver.
Everything points to sitting.
They have
DK in terms of matchup.
Not had Deebo Samuel scored the most against them back in Deebo Samuel scored the most against them this year. The only people into double digits, Diggs, Deebo Samuel twice, Godwin, and DeAndre Hopkins.
It's a good list.
So
even with Deebo. I mean, Deebo is a different, he said, new breed of receivers. So I think I'm with you. I think Bell, Fournette, and Taylor. I think you can fade back at, with these running backs.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
PPR scoring.
I do too. I 100% do. So yeah,
there's your answer.
There you go. It's hard to sit DK, but given the matchup, what Rams have done against wide receivers, and the touchdown upside out of the running backs you have, go with the 3 backs.
Just don't blow up DK. I think Marcus may be new to the show. We don't want to
Bell, Fournette, and Taylor. Yeah.
I mean, if DK blows up, just let Bell, Fournette, and Taylor all score him.
Just remember, process is right. We don't have a crystal ball to predict results. So
that's right. At the end of the day, it's still your decision.
Yep. Speaking of 49ers and Jeff Wilson, Mostert to IR.
Jeff Wilson's a touchdown scoring machine, but I'm not playing Jeff Wilson.
You're not going with Jeff Wilson.
He actually has his 3 running backs. JT for them. So I think you're making the right process. We just gotta hope that process is.
James Conner could be available for week 16. Speaking of people you don't trust. Eric Ebron did not suffer organ damage on a hit against the Bengals.
Good.
That's good. I've never seen it phrased that way, but good.
Good.
Washington paid off a female employee in a $1.6 million settlement after accusing Dan Snyder of sexual misconduct, so they're still the worst.
Yep, he's still the biggest piece of shit in all of football.
And no Edwards-Helaire. So, what was the injury on Helaire? Did you see?
No, I was at work when it happened, but it was I want to say leg.
No, it was leg. I know that. Have we heard a prognosis?
Hip to ankle. So on the when they brought in Elijah McGuire for the
divisional round, so he is for sure out this week.
Notes. Elijah McGuire is a hyper athlete, and we've seen what the Chiefs have done with UDFA. So, not saying that you need to rush out there and pick him up. Something to know.
Yeah,
hip and ankle injuries in week 15.
Yeah, Bell or Darrell Williams are going to be the 2 right now. But
just Bell.
Just Bell, not Darrell Williams. Just Bell.
Fuck Darrell. All right, that's the new. Let's get into the special surprise you have.
All right, special surprise. Surprise. No, it's Festivus, so I want to do an airing of grievances before we go ahead and get into the game breakdowns.
That's right. You mentioned that.
And I have plenty of grievances to air this year.
Okay.
So, and we're just going to go until I run out of grievances to air. So my first grievance I have to air is with Joe Mixon's foot and Zach Taylor. So, reason for this. I'm in a league, waiver wire roulette, that is no bench. And it's all play format this year. So if you have somebody that's hurt, you have to make the decision of do you drop them and risk somebody else picking them up, or do you just take the 0? And for a guy like Mixon, if it's just a 1-week injury or a 2-week injury, you're typically probably going to take the 0 because everybody's going to take a few zeros in their lineup at some point. So when you're doing an all-play format, not a record-based format, it's all going to kind of balance out in the end. You've got people you're definitely not going to drop when they go on a bye week. You've got people you're definitely not going to drop if they get banged up for a week or so. But that little lie that Zach Taylor told for about 4 weeks before they finally put Joe Mixon on IR is the difference between me contending for a title and me being like firmly entrenched in third place right now. So that's my first grievance is Zach Taylor being a damn dirty liar and Joe Mixon's foot apparently being a bigger issue than anybody is aware of. That's my first grievance of this fantasy football season is it's championship week and we lament why we're not in certain championship rounds.
We can kind of say the same for Kenny Galladay, right? With the hip.
Yeah.
Wide receiver come in. That was supposed to be, we were hyped. I was on this offense. Lions, bad defense. Very slated. Tough division. A lot of good offensive scoring there. Iffy matchup, but iffy defenses they have to face throughout the year. But again, good offense, bad defense, a lot of potential coming off of very good 2019. And drafted him everywhere, as one should. Go heavy RB, you throw a little Galladay in there, feeling pretty saucy as your wide receiver. Matt Stafford back healthy coming off of what could have been a huge season before he hurt his back. And like with Mixon in the book, unlike with Zach Taylor, at least Patricia didn't fuck around with it. Outside of the fact that they never put Galladay on IR.
They still haven't put him on IR.
Ever. How in the fuck do you just... you know what? Losing season. Obviously, Boy's hip. Obviously, Deuce hip isn't... Take it out. Throw him on IR. Let us pick up another player, throw him onto our roster, and let us just let Galladay sit on IR until we know for sure if he's done for the year. Obviously, IR rules have changed this year. You just don't drop players on IR anymore because it's only weeks and it's unlimited. So teams are going to be more proactive on use that. Lions missed this memo apparently, and now a lot of us. We had to eat a roster spot every single week because of Galladay's and his hip injury. He goes out, you can throw him on there for 2 days worth, and you got to take him back off because you can't put DMPs on your IR slots. So that's my first one. That might be my only one.
Oh no, I've got more.
No, there's more. There's definitely more.
Yeah, my next grievance is going to be against Matt Nagy. And more specifically, the handling of the Bears quarterback situation.
Yeah.
You benched your starter when you were 5-1. Ugly 5-1, don't get me wrong. You're still 5-1. You bring in your backup, who wins you a game, helps get you to 5-1. And then proceeds to lay an egg for the next 4 to 5 weeks. And you don't go back to your starter that had you 5-1. You continue to roll with it till an injury saves you from yourself. And the Bears just couldn't figure out, do we want to tank or do we want to be in playoff contention? As it would turn out, we are in playoff contention, but now it's a lot harder because of Nick Foles' ineptitude and the coach's ineptitude to realize that Mitch Trubisky moves that offense better. And I don't know why it took him so long to make that change or a change along the offensive line. But too little, too late. You're destined to be an 8-8 team that misses the playoffs. And right in the middle of the draft. So there's just really no winning for a Bears fan because of the incompetence.
My next one. I'm going to go to Frank Wright, Indianapolis Colts, and their handling Wisconsin running back, rookie Jonathan Taylor, especially in the early parts of the season. Jonathan Taylor struggled at times this year. There's no doubt about that. Running back like Taylor, you need to just let him run. Let the guy get a few series in. He'll be fine. Let the game slow down for him. Excited. Saw other great running backs, go through this when they were rookies, most notably Miles Sanders did it last year. It took him a little bit for him. Jonathan Taylor's a different breed. This man, for some whatever reason, could never string back-to-back series. Let him get himself going. From week 1, 35%. He had 67% against the Vikings. Well, Minnesota. That made sense. It was 41, 46, 55, 59, 34, 31. Season low 24. This is all snap shares. This is all sharing a backfield with far lesser talented running backs. Bucking Hines and Jordan Wilkins. Thankfully, your ass has been saved as you've risen that back up as Jonathan Taylor has finally got his shit together. The game is slowed down for them to get to see what the talent actually is. As you just stuck with him, let the man be the better back that he is compared to the other backs you fucking use for some. You had to dangle with it and have this back and forth ineffectiveness. Jordan Wilkins was never good. Hines can catch a football. That's great.
Jordan Wilkins had one good game.
Sure, one good game. Either way.
We have a question, by the way.
I know, I see it.
Not to cut you off.
No, we're going to end rant because I've talked about this enough. Jack Lansford.
Welcome back, Jack. First off, all right. David Johnson, Gio Bernard, Jeff Wilson, or J.K. Dobbins, PPR. So Dobbins has the Giants. He's got touchdowns in 4 straight games, 50-plus yards in 4 straight games. Not really involved in the passing game, though. So that
it's Cincy.
Makes it less obvious. Johnson has Cincy, right?
Yep.
Which David Johnson's been kind of what feels like meh, but he's really the only one there right now.
Johnson could never really.
But, I mean, he didn't have playing from behind last week and everything. He was heavily involved in the receiving game, actually. 11 targets, 11 receptions. And you're still not going to have Will Fuller. They have the Bengals, though, so probably not as much of a throw-heavy game.
Script, Houston's favored by 8 at home. Script wisely, but based on what Vegas thinks favorable.
Yeah, I don't think
heavy game scripts.
I don't think it's Gio.
I like Gio's match. Houston, obviously not great against the run themselves. Maybe there's a little spark. You just beat your division rival in Pittsburgh at home, sending them down a spiral of 3 games straight. But I agree.
It's Gio's first. It's only his second game of the season, though, with Mixon out the back half, clearing 50 yards.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying it's a coach spinning a narrative.
Yeah, well, I don't think you need to spin a narrative. It's championship week. We're not trying to spin a narrative on why you start Gio Bernard in championship week. Not the time to try to make things make sense. It's the time to go with what makes sense. For me, it's between Johnson and Dobbins.
You have no intrigue in Jeff Wilson with Mostert on IR?
Not really.
They're getting the Cardinals on the road. We briefly talked about this with Marcus. Well, I think these are a lot closer in players, but than what Marcus has us. I agree. I think you can throw aside Bernard. Now we can choose Johnson, Dobbins. I think the biggest thing that stands out, this is PPR. Baltimore does not throw to the they do is generally split. I think David Johnson's the answer.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they targeted him heavy. And I think that while we like Dobbins and the upside he shows, the thing with David Johnson is, let me vet this before I say it. I don't want to say things that are false.
Dobbins has scored 4 touchdowns in the
4 straight games, but
4 games.
David Johnson, let's see, up until the game he got hurt, basically, giving you about the same production. You're just more excited about Dobbins because he's a rookie and he's on a high-powered offense, and we love the upside, than you are about David Johnson, who by a lot of accounts is underperforming, but more involved in the receiving game, and really has given you about the same upside.
Yeah.
So I think it's David Johnson.
It is. I obviously obviously Dobbins. We love him for dynasty. A lot of upside in this together, which the last couple games have. But you got to go with the floor here with nearly similar upside. Dobbins has an 70 yards just touch. Gus Edwards continues to be a thorn in that side, even with Mark Ingram being pretty much a healthy. He was a healthy scratch against Jacksonville. He's fun for them.
And one other note on the matchups: the Giants are 24th in points allowed to the running back, and that
Giants' defense, just like with Washington,
actually pretty decent against the run.
Been very good.
Yeah, that's over the last 5 weeks. Bengals are 9th on the other side of the coin. So,
long-winded answer.
David Johnson. Yeah, we're talking through these. We want to make sure that we don't leave a stone unturned. So the long-winded answer is David Johnson.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to do one more grievance, and then we'll get into the breakdowns because I want to get to this one. It's fucking Michael Thomas. Not only did you not do me any damn favors going for 400 yards, no touchdowns, ankle injury, slant boy bullshit, tough first-round pick, not giving you a usable week, but you also made yourself pretty much untradeable right now. So even in a league where I have Michael Thomas and I'm looking at a first-round draft pick and I have a roster with T. Higgins and CeeDee Lamb, I got to wait until at least you gain some of your value back in the offseason when people forget about how bad you were before I can flip you. That's it.
His window is little Debbie tidbit here. These 19, 20, and 21 draft classes for receivers is going at the veteran market, essentially. A lot of guys that we didn't think is going to get replaced may end up getting replaced with how strong.
It's a CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper thing.
CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, we're already seeing guys like Gallup get replaced. Obviously, Sutton survived with Judy landing there and odd quarterback carousel. But there's the strength of these draft classes for the receiving class of these last three.
AJ Brown coming in with Corey Davis. I mean, you may not kill them, but you're capping their upside because there's going to be so many good receivers infused.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, Thielen.
Yep.
Then you have guys that have struggled that could bounce back. There's going to be nuts, and a guy like Michael Thomas isn't safe. We'll get more into his dynasty value. Don't need to. My grievance really it's a grievance because of the 2 extra games you could have had from Justin Jefferson. If the Vikings didn't fuck around with Olabisi Johnson in the first 2 weeks, Jefferson, he should. I think in my mind he's rookie of the year. Obviously, if Herbert can actually, the Chargers, coaching staff and the entire culture was right, and the Chargers were actually winning games because they were properly just not fucking around with Tyrod Taylor. Let Herbert be Herbert. Be a different story, but I know wins aren't a quarterback stat, but if you're not winning games, it sometimes just doesn't matter. But with what Jefferson's been doing, the records that he's been breaking, and the company that he's been joining is on this tear as a rookie receiver. Makes you wish that he didn't have to wait 2 games to finally start to see actual work, actual targets, actual snaps and routes run. So thank you, Vikings, again, for making more terrible decisions. I can talk about the Kirk Cousins extension, but that'll just piss me off.
Indeed. All right, let's go through it. Let's get to these games. This is what people are here for, and this is what the big breakdown is. So let's give us an hour or so of this. Vikings and Saints. Saints favored by 6.5.
Yep.
Negative 300 on this one. Plus Vikings plus 245 odds. Over under on this is 51. More about fantasy than betting this week. I like this game to go over as far as betting goes, I think.
Yeah, I think the Vikings will play the Saints soft, or at least will try to. Breeze back, no Michael Thomas, receiving cores have been shambles. Outside of that, Saints have a lot to play for. They still have the number 1 seed up for grabs. They got to start to make up some ground. That lost to Philly a couple weeks back. So Saints should be able to handle this 6.5. Over-under seems good, but also seems 51's
51's very doable.
It is. Depends what Kirk Cousins and what Vikings offense game can bring most. I think which is over.
It's in the dome. That's good for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, it is. Saints defense still tough. Obviously, Lattimore should see Justin Jefferson game. Flip over the fantasy side. Obviously, Cook. Obviously not. And I think this game is pretty shocker playing. It's a good matchup for the Breeze. Good matchup for Breeze.
So, chalk, and then I want to look a little deeper at this. So, playing from behind against Kansas City, I want to take a look at what they did last week with Drew Brees back, with no Michael Thomas. Is there any interest in any other member of the... No, there's not. Okay, answered my own question.
Maybe Maybe Manuel Sanders. He is the de facto number 1. Traquan will get some love upside, but again, it's week 16. This is not the week when to get too cute.
Right.
This is the first game of week 16. This is where you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah, and you would be getting cute. So, yep, don't do that. All right, cool. Moving on. Bucks Lions. Bucks favored by 10 in this one. Over under is 54. I don't like the points.
A coach calling plays. Bucks should win this game by easy double digits, even on the road.
I agree with that.
Under, I'm sticking the under. Honestly, this Bucks defense has been up and down. Same with Detroit's offense. 54 is a lot of points. It may take Tampa Bay getting to 35 plus for them to get there, and that's still requiring the Lions to score 21. Maybe garbage time gets you there. I'm not taking the over/under. I'm staying away from this. Maybe live bet this. If you want to.
The Lions have only scored under 21 twice this season. But they've also only scored over 25 twice. Three
that's
times,
requiring the Bucks then to score 30, which they should be able to do, but we've seen the Bucks offense.
I would just take the Bucks on the spread to win by 10.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that absolutely was what happens. As far as fantasy goes, for the Bucks, I talked about it earlier. I'm kind of steering clear of Chris Godwin, given how I expect game script to go, but also just what Chris Godwin hasn't done the last 2 weeks. He bailed you out last week with the touchdown, but just 5 targets, 4 receptions, 36 yards, only 25 yards on 3 targets, 2 receptions the week before. He's certainly been impacted by the Antonio Brown signing. And Mike Evans, on the other hand, has really started to string together a couple nice games. So Chris Godwin is somebody I'm avoiding this week.
Yeah, it seems like the concern was obviously Brady's arm strength and just where these 2 receivers, Evans and Godwin, generally do their attacking on the field. We figured Evans would have wanted to lose ground there. And since Brown came, as you said, it really since Brown has come and learned the offense, Gronk starting with them late offseason, it's kind of taken a toll. Brady has not been great. He's been fucking terrible for the most part. And it makes me just want to play Mike Evans. Brown has put up duds while having some nice games. Detroit's not going to score. Detroit will not press to score unless turnovers happen early. The Bucs should get up early and should stay up and making Brady throw less, rely on the running game more. And you're hoping that maybe he throws a couple of touchdowns. You're hoping to pick the right receiver. I'm with you. Like, even in a favorable matchup, I'm not playing Godwin or Brown. I'll play Mike Evans.
I will play Mike Evans. We talked about Fournette earlier in the show. Don't need to rehash that. On the Detroit Lions side, DeAndre Swift, I think we're at a point where I'm back to being okay with. I think he's recovered. he had a good week last week. So you go ahead and play DeAndre Swift with some confidence. Hawkinson because he's a tight end. Yeah, it's not, but he's still at least an RB2 in my opinion. We haven't seen a lot of DeAndre Swift questions, but let's throw some hypotheticals out there. I want to do that. Let's start with the same matchup: DeAndre Swift or Leonard Fournette.
I'm playing Fournette. I'm not high on Swift this week. I am very much nervous that I won't say he'll get game scripted out as he is the pass catching back. Bucs have a very good run, and he may have to get there. You're hoping that he can eclipse into that 6 to 5 to 7 catch range, and he hasn't eclipsed over 5 targets once. He's been at 5 targets for pretty much on pace every game. I don't know if his pass catching floor can elevate him enough without the rushing production to get him into that really trusted range. Yeah, he needs to score to get there. I don't like that matchup.
Biggest issue against the Bucs right now for their run defense is fewest rush attempts against them. Right now.
Yeah.
In the last 5 weeks, anyway, fewest rush attempts in the league against the Bucs. So, okay, let's move it down then a little bit. DeAndre Swift or Salvin Ahmed?
Ooh, that's closer. I think I'd go.
Those are guys that should be fighting for a flex spot if they're on the same team.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel great about either, but gun to head, I probably still. I would go with the upside.
Okay. And one more, DeAndre Swift or Chris Carson. Carson in a bad matchup against the Rams.
I go with Carson. I trust the running game of Seattle a bit more, and the better offense, and the closer game script to keep running the football.
All right, cool. I'm with you. Anybody in the Lions passing game outside of the obvious tight end?
Marvin Jones, he's had some, I want to say, over the past
12 targets last week, caught 10 balls, 112 yards. 2 of the last 3 weeks for Marvin Jones have been really good. Double-digit targets, over 100 yards and a tutter.
I think if you need a flex, and I know this isn't the week, but you're going to have difficult matchups. You're going to have to look beyond your roster if you don't have great flex options or even a great wide receiver 3 option. I think you can do not much worse than Jones. I think Jones has that upside just given where I expect this game script to become. And the Lions would have to throw the football more.
Cool.
Not coming off of a terrible game. I still like him to play, plus tight end. So.
Let me throw a few out there then. Just same exercise. Marvin Jones or let's go Jarvis Landry.
Landry. I'll go with it.
Okay, Marvin Jones or DJ Moore against Washington.
They're essentially the same receiver. Right? A big playability. I think I want to say Marvin Jones.
I'd probably go with Jones in this matchup also.
That's tough,
one more than Robert Woods or Marvin Jones.
Robert Woods.
Okay.
Woods has been an
Okay. Well, except for when they're winning by more than 10. I had that discussion with Nick on Sunday because he was heavy on Robert Woods too. And when the Rams are up by win a game by more than 10 points, Robert Woods does not do well.
Well, thank God they have Seattle. In Seattle, I expect that game.
Yes, I do too. This is a game where I would also be on Robert Woods. I was against Woods last week because how I thought the game script was going to go, and then
it didn't even matter.
The fucking Jets.
I mean, without the touchdown, because I think he scored, right? Or he scored
some
big plays. Okay, fucking Jared Goff needs to be Carson Wentz. Goff is fucking.
Yeah, but for who?
I'm sorry. I don't know, dude. I don't bring back Blake Bortles, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't have Jalen Hurts mind. It was really the touchdown, by the way, that made Woods' day from just mediocre.
It's a fucking at home.
Yeah, he only had 56 yards on 6 receptions, but it was a touchdown that took it from good to great. He did have a 40-yard rush as well, so there's that. Because that's normal.
Because that's normal. I mean,
they use him in that way. It just normally doesn't go for 40.
Yeah.
Okay, Niners Cardinals. We mentioned Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson has flex value. I just don't know that we've landed at a spot where we're okay with Jeff Wilson yet.
I don't want to play this game with Jeff Wilson because I don't want to trust my fantasy. I know people are going to.
Okay, so here we go. Let's play a game. Jeff Wilson or Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley's benched. You're playing Jeff Wilson. Fucking Ito Smith is the starter in Atlanta. It's not Todd Gurley.
Okay, Jeff Wilson or James Conner?
And
Steelers have the Colts.
yeah, Jeff Wilson.
There you go. I found one. Well, it's a Melvin Gordon revenge game, so we're not going there.
And no Philip Lindsay potentially.
Yeah, no. Let's
Melvin Gordon.
Jeff Wilson or Devin Singletary?
Jeff Wilson, he scores touchdowns.
Yeah.
Singletary doesn't he's all production and not much of it.
I don't really have anything else good. We talked about Wilson and Lev Bell. I don't want to throw Salvin Ahmed out there a second time. Jeff Wilson or DeAndre Swift? Literally the same thing for me this week, I think.
I know. You're taking enjoyment from them. They're probably ranked like right on top.
Probably Jeff Wilson. Better matchup.
Yeah, and more insulated. I don't know how much competition Wilson has for this.
No, hardly any. Other than that, Deebo Samuel probably not going to play again. You're going Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers.
League winner Ayuk.
What's that?
I said league winner Ayuk.
Yeah, no, you're going with Brandon Ayuk. Cardinals, you're chalk. It's Kenyon Drake, obviously. Even in that matchup, Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray.
There's a chance that Kittle may play.
There's a chance Kittle plays. If Kittle plays, you start Kittle. I mean,
dude, have fun with that. There are people out there that are going to have to pick between Logan Thomas and George Kittle. And week 1, obviously not an easy decision. Week 16 championship game, Kittle hasn't played in 8 weeks. And Logan Thomas is the top 3 tight end right now. Not top. Top
George
higher.
Kittle. I'm sorry, that's too cute. You don't start Logan Thomas over George Kittle if George Kittle's healthy.
If Logan Thomas had not been doing this all year long, it wouldn't be. Right now, it's not too cute. That is a real decision because you don't know. We have no clue what Kittle is.
It's George Kittle.
Like, let's pray that George Kittle is. I don't want to have to play George Kittle because I'm going to play George Kittle no matter what. Also, that Kelsey is the best tight end in football. Obviously. Anyways.
Okay. Dolphins Raiders. We talked about the Dolphins running game. I don't know that we need to rehash that, but just to rehash that, both of them have flex value. Ahmed has the high. We're leaning Ahmed over Gaskin. Yeah. And again, we don't know for sure what that's going to look like, but that's what we're leaning. Does Tua have streamer value in this game, given how bad the Raiders' defense has been?
I mean, they have found some. I expect Bowden to not just boost touches. I think he'll get involved as a pass catcher. They should get Parker back. But Gesicki. This is a plus matchup, but it's on the road. This is an important matchup for both teams. Both teams Dolphins need to continue to win. Raiders obviously need a win to get back into the playoff hunt.
But that didn't answer anything about.
I know. I'm building a fucking narrative here.
Yeah, you built a narrative around receiver volume for a quarterback, though.
No, I'm saying that he'll.
You said You said Lynn Bowden won't lose volume.
I'm not playing Tua. I'm not playing.
Do you think Lynn Bowden's going to take touches from Tua?
No, I think. We have a question.
I think you just wanted to say Lynn Bowden's name.
Maybe.
We do have a question. What up, Juice?
Juice Walker wants to know
Thoughts on the Haskins situation? Oh man,
you're not. First off, for fantasy wise, you're not playing fucking Dwayne Haskins. Just
from a personal standpoint,
an idiot.
Yeah, it was a dumb move. You know what's going on, and I think that the only reason he's taking first team reps right now, and that Ron Rivera didn't stick him right back on the bench for this, is because Alex Smith isn't healthy, and you don't really have anybody else that's worth a shit. So that's the only reason I think that he hasn't been punished from within. And normally he's a kid with money, and we've seen it plenty of times to where kids with money do things that aren't necessarily of the best judgment, and it's not at all. If it wasn't during a pandemic, we wouldn't be batting an eye at this. But given what's happened, given that Washington is in position to to pick up a playoff spot, given that he is the only healthy quarterback, and then given what you've seen with what's happened with Denver, with what happened with Baltimore, with what's happened in San Francisco, it was a poor judgment call that put his team at risk, that is in contention for a playoff spot and still has something to play for. And I would imagine that his teammates don't look at that well. And we already know the head coach had some problems with his maturity. So, it's a kid with money, and it's something we wouldn't bat an eyelash at. If it happened in any other year, but this year it's just a dumb move.
They're playing Carolina, so I have to take back the don't play Haskins. Good matchup.
You still don't.
But you're not.
You still don't play Haskins.
You're not playing him single QB. I probably have to rule him out there in a championship situation that I'm in. I don't have much to pick from. And QB scoring in that league heavily doesn't have a heavy negative effect for as much. That's our thoughts, Juice.
Yeah.
On Haskins.
Yep.
Again, going back to Dolphins Raiders, I'm not trusting. I like Tua. I like him just beyond this season. I'm not gonna ride my championship hopes on.
I'm looking at since he took over as a starter, and you really don't have a fantasy game that you feel great about, so you don't buy into that. Looking at the receivers, if Parker's back, it's Parker.
Obviously.
And if Parker and Gesicki are back, it's both of them. If not, we'll have to give you an update on Monday. Lynn Bowden did receive the highest target volume, but they were able to do everything that they did through the running game. Matt Breida actually had a nice game opposite of Salvin Ahmed, and I think if you're missing both Parker and Gesicki again, it's going to be a lot more running game than anything. So
yeah,
I wouldn't get cute with Bowden.
This is a tougher matchup for them to try. I mean, this is on the road. It's hard to expect them to be able to have the success to blow up the Raiders and to have a constant running game there. So I do expect this game to be close. I think there is some to a value in terms of superflex if you need as a starter, as a starting one quarterback guy. No.
Yeah, and looking at the Raiders then. So I think you're staying away from a lot of this. Josh Jacobs is another. There's a lot of running backs this week with kind of mediocre matchups, isn't there? You've either got mediocre backs and good matchups, or good backs and mediocre matchups, and it really puts the field close.
There's gonna be a lot of Josh Jacobs. I don't think you're sitting him. I think it's tough with the volume that he gets.
It is. It's just you've got capped upside because they're playing Miami.
Yeah, and it's the Raiders. You don't know what type of offense you're getting. Feels murky and ugly.
Yeah, other than they've given up one 20-plus point performance to a back. They've given up one 15-plus point performance to a back since week 5. The Dolphins have.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
better than expected.
Leading rushers aren't anything to write home about that they've faced, but
I mean, there's always upside with Jacob. I don't think you're sitting him. You just have to maybe lessen the expectations. It hasn't been much either way. He hasn't been.
He's just right there in the David Johnson type tier this week, though. And that's a tough one.
He's an inefficient running back who need production. He's basically Carlos Hyde. He's Melvin Gordon. Like, he's an inefficient running back who's a decent pass catcher, but getting volume. That's who he is. So that's he's always a high RB2.
Yeah, indeed, and touchdown upside. So I mean,
yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, you don't sit him, and then in the passing game, any interest in any Raider there?
Waller, obviously.
Waller.
No. Like, you can play Aguilar, but again, he's a boom bust. When it comes to what they need on third down, what they need as a pass catcher, what a car will look to if he needs somebody, it's going. Oh. Waller and Jacobs.
Waller or Renfro.
Waller.
On third down.
Waller might be the only type. I think
I wasn't asking you who you start. I just said that's who they're looking at is going to be Waller or Renfro on third down typically.
Third down, Renfro.
Yeah.
But for fantasy, Waller and Jacobs.
Yeah, Nelson Aguilar has seen his target volume up.
He's been good this year. He's been very serviceable this year. And the Raiders' offense again has at times have looked great. Carr has looked like he's back. And there's games where they just struggle.
Can't get cute with it. You shouldn't be desperate enough if you're in a championship game to have to start Nelson Aguilar. That's not a position, given health and everything like that, you should find yourself in.
And Dolphins have two good outside corners.
Yep. All right, Falcons Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 10.5 in this one. Over under is 53.5.
I'll take the over. I don't know, like 10.5 point spread. Chiefs should win this game by double digits. I mean, they're at home; they can get up big early and just kind of coast. I don't know. I don't like this 10 points. I don't know. I know that you don't like 10 points at double digit.
I don't like double digit point spreads. Period. So
unless it's hyper obvious, I'll just take the points here. Maybe Chiefs money line is minus 590 isn't worse in a pretty big parlay bet. Up there is avoidable.
Yep. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley for the Falcons. If Julio Jones is healthy, you're playing Ridley regardless. If Julio is not healthy, Russell Gage has been very serviceable in his absence. Over the last 3 weeks, you've got 7 or more targets every week, 50-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. 1 week that didn't have a touchdown was an 82-yard performance. It's a game that's going to require scoring. So if Julio's not healthy, you can start Russell Gage. Don't do anything with the running game for the Falcons.
Chiefs. Who's their pass catcher?
What's that?
Or, who's their pass catching running back? I want to say it's might be Brian Hill.
Hold on, I'm on their team. I'm on their page. I can tell you.
I mean, it shouldn't matter because you're not.
Let's see.
No stone unturned.
No, and it was Ito Smith at the most.
They're split. Hill's got 3 more targets.
Yeah. It was Ito Smith last week by 1 target. So.
And they're both in it. So don't play the running backs, I agree.
Yep, don't play the running backs. Chiefs, we don't need to go there. The Chiefs have been the same all year, except for when Sammy Watkins was hurt, and then you were trying to make a guess about whether it was Hardman or Robinson, and good luck at that. So, in the Chiefs, it's chalk like it always is. Replaced Edwards-Helaire with Le'Veon Bell in about the same place, though, honestly. I don't think that it's an upgrade or a downgrade.
I agree. I think.
Yeah, lateral move.
Yep.
All right, Bears-Jaguars. Bears favored by 7.5 in this one.
It's hard to imagine the Bears. It should be a double-digit win. But there's a part of me that feels like
It's the
on
Bears,
the road,
and you can't bet. You can't bet the Bears more than 4 points. I don't think.
Oh, this is so gross. This is
Over under is 47.
We're gonna pivot.
We're just gonna go to
do
fantasy.
a quick pivot to a beer review.
Okay.
Normally we like to do how a game makes us feel or how a player makes us feel. This is the opposite. I absolutely love the beer that I'm drinking right now. By 100% opposite to how I feel about the Bears in Jacksonville. Again, it's been a while since we talked about it. I'm drinking More Brewing Strawberry Banana Double Marbles. This is a double milkshake IPA with obviously bananas. Super cream filling, super sweet. A good balance between both the strawberry and the banana. There's not one dominant flavor. It is a little bit more strawberry on the back end with banana kind of having a bit of a dominant in the front. But again, it's generally just more of a balanced feel with the sugary over there and that kind of heavier feeling IPA. If you like milkshakes, if you're in the Chicagoland area, I hope we have some up there. I would definitely check out More Brewing. I have some actual friends that work for girlfriend for them. So I definitely want to get them a big shout out, and their Marble series is one sought after. Big shout out to them. Thank God this beer is a better representation of the Bears and the your two favorite teams, Hopper. Bears, Jaguars.
Right. As far as fantasy goes, love David Montgomery this week. He is one of the plus running back matchups, I think. Looking at the matchups that are out this week, David Montgomery could be a top 5 running back this week.
David Montgomery has been the RB1 past, I want to say 3 or not a RB1.
The RB1.
The RB1.
Yeah. I mean, if I were picking a top 5 out of the games that I've looked at this week, which has been a lot of them, it's probably Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara.
Montgomery is the reason why I am, as a shitty, mediocre fantasy team, is playing in the championship game. The two best teams.
Yeah. You've been streaming quarterbacks. Mitchell Trubisky isn't a bad option either. He's a top 12 quarterback since he got back. Don't know what the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do at quarterback, so it's a little hard to look at this and predict a game script.
You're sitting all Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Don't get cute.
Even if James Robinson plays, he's flex value at best. So
for me, I think he's been so good this year. Everything screams that he's a rookie, not practicing all week. I get it. He should be fine. He knows his offense. Bears still have a strong run defense. I believe Hicks is playing, right?
Yeah, Hicks is healthy. So
I think Robinson should always have flex value. He sucked against Baltimore. He scored that receiving touchdown, helped to prop that day up. I think that's what you're hoping for. And while it's going to be difficult to probably have to sit of his volume, I'm not playing a Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I'm to avoid it. Possible.
On to the next game.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, we had a question. What's the question?
News, again, coming at us with more of the long-term questions here.
Sure.
Is Aaron Rodgers is he a long-term answer for Green Bay? And then he piggybacked that with, is Green Bay going to keep Love like the Patriots did with Garoppolo? They're not getting rid of Love. Love is on a rookie deal, first-round pick. They have him for 5 years. If Love gets
they want him
traded,
for 5,
it's
they have him
because
for at least 4. They can have him for 5.
Yeah. So they'll keep him for at least 4. They'll likely keep him for 5 if he shows anything with Rodgers on. I think Rodgers will ask his way out of Green Bay within the next. I think he'll want to have that next shot, and Green Bay has shown no kind of gun-ho mentality and making sure Rodgers has a good offensive line, a strong receiving core, and a true commitment to a running game on top of they have a good defense. But the drafting of Love, the drafting of Dylan, the drafting of a hybrid, a tight end fullback it wouldn't give me hopes that this team wants to build their own Rodgers for the. I think they want to change the guard. I think Rodgers is going to out of Green Bay.
Yeah, my answer is as long as he wants to be, and
That's true. That's fair.
Based on it's a great question, and it's as long as he wants to be. And on one hand, you have the fact that they did draft Jordan Love, and that did make no sense, and it did piss Aaron Rodgers off, and they didn't give him any help on the offensive line, and they didn't give him any help at the receiver position. But I don't know if you do, Dan. I listened to his weekly spots on Pat McAfee because he does a weekly.
I don't want to like him. I know how likable he is on his weekly spots.
Yes, and I hate it because it actually does make me like him. But it seems by all accounts, and he's been asked about this multiple times, point blank on that show, where he's typically pretty honest because it's not a general media preview. Him and Matt LaFleur seem to have turned a corner in their relationship. And the way that things are going on the field, to where while the offseason front office stuff is weird, it seems like things are pretty okay as far as the on the field stuff is going right now with the coaching staff, Big Bob Tunyon, Bakhtiari, the people that are around Aaron Rodgers, to where it's really kind of a crapshoot. To where all I can really say is as long as he wants to be. I mean, he is a 30-plus-year-old quarterback. He did say something in a spot last week that made my eyebrows kind of arch a little bit, that, hinted at maybe he didn't think he was long for that position for a long point in time. So I would say short term, next 2 years or so, yes, it's probably Aaron Rodgers. Because like you said, they have Love on a 4-year deal, 5 years if they want him, 4 years from this year. Short term, I think it's Rodgers. Long term, it's a little bit more murky.
Maybe, no, Jordan Love is not the same prospect as Rodgers. I didn't scout quarterbacks back then. I'm a fucking terrible scout of quarterbacks now. I'll admit it. Okay.
I'm actually okay at the quarterback scouting stuff.
I've gotten a lot better. Hell of a lot better. Jordan Love, not a great prospect. There is intangible upside. There is athleticism upside. He's basically a shittier version of Josh Allen. So, they may want to treat the situation as it did with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I don't see Aaron Rodgers trying to force his way out of Green Bay because Rodgers may retire. I think that's where that comment made me.
And I think that's what the comment made me think too is, holy crap, is he going to retire soon? The Packers do have an out on him after next year too.
Yeah.
So
it's hard for me to see Rodgers hating. Like, he's a massive competitor. He may want to keep playing. He may pull up Brady and want to sign with the new team, keep playing after his days in Green Bay or Lawn. I think he wants to win another Super Bowl with Green Bay. I think this is another Breeze situation. This may be a Peyton Manning situation where if he doesn't get it in Green Bay within the next years, he may want to try again with another. Hopefully that Rodgers is still a great quarterback. He may struggle at times, but this man is going to play at a high level, well beyond where Brady's been and Breeze has been. Like, that's how good Rodgers is. First ballot Hall of Famer, obviously. As for Dynasty, we'll get into more of that talk when we get to Dynasty conversations. Rodgers has always been a sell because of his age. But in terms of his long-term value, I do 1 to 2 years. I don't want to keep beating it.
Yeah, you already kicked it and then stomped on its legs and kicked the corpse down a hill. I talk too much positivity.
Why you got to make me talk positive?
Hill and all sorts of stuff.
Shoes.
But
thanks, shoes.
Yeah, it's 1 to 2 years.
Where were we? We're on the shit matchup with the Bears and Bengals.
Well, no, not Bears and Bengals. I was about to transition to the Bengals because you said you start no Jaguars, and I was going to say you start no Bengals. I mean, it's a good matchup, but given that it's championship week, given that they're starting Ryan Finley, who threw for 80 yards.
He made a third down big run and smiled. I think Higgins caught some. No, you're not playing a Bengal. I still think maybe Gio, but that's because of floor.
Threw for 89 yards. Yeah, Gio Bernard, you can
don't play a Bengal
for, but
boom, we're done with it. Betting wise, so Houston -8, over under 46.5. Do we care? What the betting line here?
No, not really.
Red's a bit high at 8, maybe Bengals +8.
I don't
Seems
like the
kinda cute.
line, so yeah.
I think 8 points is. I think you can tease 8 to 16 or 8 to 14, 14.5. I'll take. I agree with the over.
And your best receiving option for the Texans right now, outside of David Johnson, is Chad Hansen. So that should tell you all.
I mean, Brandon Cooks is healthy. So.
I mean, I'm just saying, Hansen.
I don't. No.
Over the last 3 weeks has been really good.
I may find a matchup that I may hate more than the Bears and Jack. No, I don't hate it as there are more playable players. Oh, no, I don't hate that bad.
There's not. No,
Watson, David Johnson.
You got more playable players on the Bears alone because you have David Montgomery.
Well, do you? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, David Montgomery and Mitch Trubisky. You have 2. You've only got 1 in the Bengals.
You got Allen Robinson.
And Allen Robinson, that's right.
No, I'm not talking about the Bengals. Fuck the Bengals. Someone cares about the Bengals. Houston.
No, you don't have that many playable people in Houston, too. Let's look at last week versus Indy, shall we? 2027.
No, we don't need to.
20-27. No stone unturned. Kiki Kuti was the leading target getter with 7.
That's the show title. No stone unturned.
It will. I'll make it that when I upload it, yes. But Chad Hansen was your leading receiver. No, Brandon Cooks was your leading receiver. Chad Hansen had the touchdown. So
I think you can play.
I don't know. You don't love any of these guys, and it's not going to be lost, or you can start them all.
I think you can play Brandon Cooks. It's the same way you can play.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
That's a fair statement. And let's move on.
Yes. Browns
Something
Jets.
a little better. Browns Jets. Not a lot better.
It's Baker. All right. Browns -9.5.
Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are both running back ones this week, given some of the matchups that are out there.
Let's hope so.
I think so. No Quinnen Williams, it looks like, for the Jets. So
this might be a Nick Chubb. A Nick Chubb the RB1 game.
Could be. Talked about Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Do you want to stand for Rashard Higgins again?
He was okay, wasn't he?
He was okay.
I mean, again, if the Browns are gonna
blow
this game out for running volume, I'm not saying you're gonna run out there and play against.
No, he didn't. But 76 yards, he was all right.
Yeah. I think he had 4 catches.
4 catches on 5 targets.
Yeah, sure. If you want to throw out there as a deeper league dart throw,
you can play Rashard Higgins the same way you can play Brandon Cooks.
In the same way you can play Mitchell Trubisky. we're gonna keep this train going. All right. So, betting wise, no, never a top betting.
No, because the Jets. I don't want to. Oh my God!
You're not playing the Jets. No, are we? No. Perriman.
Are we? No. Hold on. I didn't. What have the Jets done the last? Well,
they won a game.
Oh wait, sorry. We're on the every other week plan. This is the week they put up 3.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
Remember?
It's like the Jarrett McKinnon from 2 years ago.
Keep in mind, we're going back to week 5.
So no touchdowns will be scored. Is there going to be any actual production?
10-0, 10-9, 27 bye week, 28-3, 28-3, 23. So they should score 3 points this week
That's insane.
If my predictions are right. So
that's since week 4.
Using this total empirical.
Since week 3. 7, 28, 10, 0, 10, 9. Yeah, I mean, if you count the bye week as every other week, yeah.
Yep.
And Browns, obviously good defense.
Frank Gore, 23 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. How do we feel about Frank Gore?
You're not playing Frank Gore. You're not playing Frank Gore in the same way you're not playing anybody else from this offense. Have fun trusting James
Frank Gore or James Conner?
James Conner. Even if he doesn't play.
Frank Gore or Mike Davis?
Mike Davis. Mike Davis should be all right. It's a tough matchup.
Where's one we really don't like?
Here's a fun one. Here's an actual question that matters: Deshaun Watson or Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is like a top 3 quarterback. You're playing Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, yeah, against Dallas, absolutely Jalen Hurts.
Dude, you're playing. I don't know if there's a quarterback. All right, fine. Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen?
This week it's Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts or Aaron Rodgers against Tennessee? I have that same dilemma in our championship in my league.
Rushing floor Hurts.
Hurts is the All right, so if you've been listening to this show for a long time, you know the love. You know our journey with Jalen Hurts since dating back to 17 and our fuck Jalen Hurts rants we've been on.
Yeah, you know how high we were on him in the draft, and
he was we had him higher than Herbert. We were not afraid. We made that statement pre-draft process. Burrow to Hurts.
And post-draft, I think we flipped it. We still had him 4 even after he went to the Eagles.
We flipped it because of draft. We flipped it because of
landing spot, because of wins.
Landing spot and actual draft capital. We knew that Herbert was going to be the guy. We didn't think Hurts would get a shot this year. Hurts has been every bit of the leader. He is a more than good enough thrower, and the Konami code upside as a runner is as good. It's not Lamar Jackson level, but it's more than Josh Allen. It's more than Kyler Murray even. So Hurts might be. I don't know, Hurts or Patrick Mahomes.
I can't go that extreme.
Yeah, Hurts might be the QB2.
Top 3. I think.
Yeah, top 3.
Just like we did with backs, I think if we're looking at top 3 quarterbacks this week, you're probably Hurts, Rodgers, Mahomes.
Yeah, it's Hurts and Rodgers, maybe 2A, 2B. Mahomes, obviously, I mean, again, championship, but Hurts is your league winner at quarterback.
Yep, I agree with that.
Fun question. Do we need to talk more about Browns Jets, or can we?
Is it? This is not a good week for things I want to watch.
Colts Pittsburgh will be a fun football.
It's going to be a fun football game. It's not going to be fun for fantasy because
I said it earlier in the show. Pittsburgh's run defense not that strong.
No, and that's good news for Jonathan Taylor. But as far as the receiving game goes, you had some good weeks out of T.Y. Hilton, and then last week happened. You can't really trust Michael Pittman, so it's hard to trust anything in the receiving game for the Colts. And in a weird way, you kind of have the same problem with the Steelers to where nobody's really going off.
Nobody's trusted. Deontay Johnson's getting target ball.
They're all kind of in that middle ugly area.
I think it may be a JT and the Colts defense because of how imploded the Pittsburgh offense is. Big Ben is. He looks gas. He should retire.
They can't run the football right now.
And they can't do shit right now. Benny Snell, fucking terrible. Anthony McFarland can't beat out Benny Snell. That's not a good sign. Ebron probably won't play. James Conner is always up in the air. And the receiving core, Juju got his ass fucking rocked.
Well,
I love Juju to death, but he right now is the wide receiver 3 in this offense.
And he kind of deserved that. But
I mean, whatever. Like, he danced in the logo. Get the fuck over it. He got knocked out because he got cute. Whatever. Deontay Johnson might be the only trusted receiver in this whole offense. Maybe the only trusted Pittsburgh player.
Yeah, because Claypool had the big blow-ups, and then he was always more of a dynasty prospect anyway.
Yeah, he is what DK was last year. He's a big play machine. They want to get him to football, but I don't think he's
even if healthy, how much can you trust James Conner? I'm going back and looking at him since week 8. He's played 5 games since week 8. 47 yards and a touchdown, 22-0, 36-0, 89-0, and 18-0.
They're not playing James Conner this week, regardless of health.
No, you're not.
The offensive line's been struggling for like the whole team is just in these last 3 games. But Washington, that was a Monday night. I won't say meltdown, but the team hasn't looked the same. I think there might be just 2 viable fantasy players from this entire game. Jonathan Taylor
and Deontay
maybe
Johnson.
Deontay Johnson. That might be it. And obviously the defense is.
Yeah.
Reds at 1.5. Colts favored on the road. Pittsburgh money line 106 plus 106 over under 44.5. This is going to be a close game. I think I take the over. I think, despite how shit on we talked about the offense, they're both good enough to score in a back and forth type of style. I like Pittsburgh money line. I think Pittsburgh turns. I think this is where they I won't say turn the corner, but I think this is where they settle it. And
I think they limp into the playoffs. I like Colts money line. Better odds too.
Honestly,
slightly.
Well, I mean, Steelers aren't favorites. They have the better money line.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I like Colts spread. I said that wrong.
Honestly, there's no. I don't think.
I think the Steelers go limping into the playoffs.
Yeah, this is a true push-in. I do agree.
All right, Giants, Ravens. Giants, I don't know that you can trust anything here necessarily against Baltimore. Normally, you'd could make an argument for Wayne Gallman, but given what Baltimore just did to Jacksonville, yeah, I don't think you can trust anything from the Giants side of things.
Oh, I think the Giants are in the same boat as everybody else. I mean, Slayton's had some games. Shepard and Tate are still it's. There's nobody. I think you pass on all Giants and on the Baltimore.
Yep. For Baltimore, Jackson and Dobbins.
Jackson's obviously much play. Mark Andrews obviously tied in. He will get the target. He will at least upside. Brown will probably draw Bradbury, or that might be Boykin.
One of them's going to draw Bradbury, and one of them's going to draw Ryan. And Ravens wide receivers from a point scored standpoint, I think they might be last in the league as far as.
They're fucking terrible.
Let me take a look at that real quick. Scored wide receivers. They are third to last. Actually, they are not the worst in the league. The Giants and the Patriots are below them.
That makes sense. I think Dobbins and Edwards both have flex value. I think Dobbins has the higher upside, just more explosive athlete. Edwards does get enough volume, though, to be flex worthy. Ravens get up early. Obviously, game script 10.5 point spread. Vegas thing. Baltimore. Game script should lead to both Edwards and Dobbins. That's combined with Jackson.
Willie Snead, by the way, has the Ravens highest scoring game of the year.
We're not telling anybody to play Willie Snead.
I'm not telling anybody to play Willie Snead. It was just a fun tidbit that he's got the highest scoring game of the year for a Ravens wide receiver.
Yeah, let's take Marquise Brown over A.J. Brown and go Devo Stamp. If I take the undersized in the first round.
Little airing of grievances going on there.
Yeah, that's back to 19. Fucking last year. Anyways.
Panthers and the football team. Football team favored by 1.5. At home. Washington's defense has been a good start here as of late. As far as your fantasy options, pass rush is going to happen, but Teddy Bridgewater is good about adjusting at the line of scrimmage. He's good about getting the ball out quick. So, it's not a matchup I think gets wrecked. That being said, I don't know outside of DJ Moore that there's really anybody I want to go to here.
Mike Davis could have floor value. The same
flex type floor value for Davis.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of good running back matchups this week.
No, it might be in the same vein. It's not a good matchup, but there might be enough. I agree. Now I'm playing Robbie Anderson or Curtis Samuel. I think it's firm that DJ Moore, at least it's the big play threat. It should be the.
Well, and he should get more of the underneath work than what Anderson does too. I don't know that they're going to have, the ability to really stretch it out there. So.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Carolina. Washington, if they can get back Gibson, good matchup for him. Obviously, he's been very good this year. And the volume's there for him. I think if Gibson's healthy, he should easily be back into 65+% snap and opportunity for him RB2. McLaurin, you got to come back Sunday. Give you more injury.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it on McLaurin. Same thing with Gibson. Washington, you'll have to wait till Sunday. Broncos Chargers, finally something that is a little bit more enticing. There's a couple games down the list here that are a little more enticing.
It's more fun.
It is. This game's a lot of fun because two of the most fun quarterbacks in the league are in this game.
Oh my god!
With Drew Lock and Justin Herbert. In all seriousness, if you're streaming quarterbacks, not a bad one to stream Drew Lock in against a Chargers defense that hasn't been good. Again, looking for quarterback streams though, right? So, I mean, if you stream, people do stream quarterbacks to the championship. You know, Drew Lock is an okay stream.
Drew Lock or Mitchell Trubisky?
Probably Lock. I think they're going to have to throw more. 248, 3 touchdowns, just 1 pick in his last outing against the Chargers. 31-30 Denver win.
That was a
fun game.
Also, fucking last money, stupid ass.
So,
there's no way I'm going to tell anybody to play. We're always going to just.
We are, but again, it's just something.
It is a decent matchup.
It's a decent matchup for him. Herbert, obviously, you've been riding Herbert since he took over as starter. I'm sure.
And the one bad outing against Patriots.
Right.
This should be a decent matchup for him. I think Herbert's still more on the Hammer value-esque in terms of redraft. Obviously, there's are better options, but Herbert at that insane stretch, I think he's kind of lost a bit of that luster. Keenan Allen doesn't play. I think that let's take away a bit of that upside. But this should be a closer game than what.
Keenan Allen barely played last week, and we still got a 300-yard 2-touchdown performance, so doesn't kill him.
Who did they play last week?
Vegas.
Vegas.
So
I would say Denver is a little bit better.
Well, a little bit, but they don't. Their secondary is completely decimated. They got no pressure. Well, Harris isn't in Denver anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so Bryce Callahan's on IR with a foot injury. Denver is. I made the same mistake the other week, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah. So Denver's beat up on defense right now.
Herbert's a fine stream.
Herbert, I take it back. Herbert, if he's available, which he's probably not, would be the best stream of the week.
He might be.
He's likely not, given how good he's been. Unless he's been dropped in the last 4 weeks, where he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But his last outing against Denver was really good too. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 278 yards. So, looking at wide receivers for the Chargers, stay tuned.
We got a question.
What is it?
We got a fucking Jared Kane. Jared, I think I remember seeing Jared in here.
I've seen Jared in here, yeah.
Drew Lock.
Whoa.
Drew, I have a lot of fun Lock. Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones, or Marcus Mariota. Car practice in full. I don't think.
Yeah.
Mariota plays this
so
week.
Ask again on Sunday when we know about Mariota, but we'll give you an answer as of today.
Not Daniel Jones.
I'm assuming Carr plays as of the news that came out today. So
I think between these up 4, Jared just wants me to pick Drew.
Yeah, it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock is what you're getting down to, and Bridgewater has a terrible matchup against the Ravens. I mentioned that he'll get the ball out quick, won't take as many sacks, but it's still not a game that you would want to run Teddy Bridgewater. Drew Lock has the best matchup out of any of them and the best chance at upside out of any of them.
You're not playing Teddy against.
Say it.
Not playing Jones again. I said Drew Lock was. I said that Jared just wants me to say Drew Lock's the answer.
Yeah, no, but you put it on him. You didn't say
it. Drew Lock's the answer for these four. If Derek Carr plays, I'm playing Derek Carr.
Drew Lock's the answer to a lot more than just this question, but it's Drew Lock.
All right, let's move on. Rams, Seahawks. All right, we need to talk more about Broncos, Chargers. Skill players.
Yeah, we kind of do. We haven't talked about any of the skill players yet. And for the Broncos, Phillip Lindsay probably won't play. Melvin Gordon had a great week, a lot of it in garbage time. Chargers have been bad against the run. You're completely fine with Melvin Gordon this week, especially given some of the other matchups that are out there. You're great with Melvin Gordon this week.
Receivers?
Tim Patrick's always an interesting play in a game where there's going to be throwing for Denver. Jerry Jeudy is in that Brandon Cooks tier, like perpetually in that Brandon Cooks tier this week. I want to go look at this real quick, actually, since I just did this. Points scored, wide receivers. Where's Denver? I'm not looking at how many they throw to the wide receiver. I want to look at who their leading wide receiver has been.
That's insane. Judy's got 91 targets. He's got 20 more targets than Tim Patrick, 5 less catches.
So Jerry Jeudy has been
Yikes.
the leading fantasy point scorer for the Broncos 3 weeks out of the year. Week 1 with 5.6 points, week 9 with 18.5, and last week with 1.9. So
they're playing. All right, fine. Here's the answer. You're not playing either. Week 16. Are you really going to debate Tim Patrick?
No, I think you can play Tim Patrick.
Okay, so Tim Patrick, flex value, Jerry Jeudy. Don't think about it.
Hell, Deshaun Hamilton had his blow-up game last time these two played. No, it's Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick has flex value. Jerry Jeudy, don't worry about it. For the Chargers, we're gonna have to wait until Sunday to get more news on Keenan Allen. So we'll have an update for you then. And you can play Eckler.
You can probably play Hunter Henry.
Henry's not practicing with an undisclosed injury. So
get back to us
again.
Sunday.
Tune in on Sunday for the Chargers outlook because it's murky right now.
All right, Rams Seahawks. This game.
Before we do this game, this is what I was waiting on to do a beer review because on paper this game looks like it should be a lot of fun. Looks like it should be really fun for fantasy. Chocolate milk stout's one of my favorite styles of beer. So doing a head-to-head of them with 2 I happen to have in the fridge was really fun, and head-to-heads are a fun concept. So I'm going to do the full grading scale thing on these as I go.
Okay. Let's do
So looking at color, a little bit more translucency, a little bit more red to the Fulton. For a stout, you typically don't want that type of red in there, or really a lot of translucency in there. You typically want them to be just kind of black. So color is going to go to the Lugene from Bell's. Body, the Lugene's a lot fuller. I nosed it like it's fucking whiskey. You don't do nose on beers. I forgot what I was judging for a second. Carbonation on these is about equal. The body on the Lugene's a lot fuller, which again is something you want from a stout. You don't want your stouts to be thin. You want them to be robust and have a great mouthfeel. Both are creamy, for different reasons, by the way. So oatmeal and lactose are both designed to give your beer body. That's why they're added to beers. Lactose lends a little sweetness as well, but they're both designed to help out the mouthfeel. In this case, the Lugene has the better mouthfeel. The richer beer, more chocolate, it does win this throwdown. The Fulton was solid, not quite as rich, not quite as much chocolate to it. A lot thinner. So still good, still drinkable. Just compared to the Lugene, which is a very full mouthfeel, it's sweet. It's got some rich chocolate notes to it. It's, to me, a much better drinking beer.
Yeah. As I said, we talked about it way early on in the show. If you've been with us since the beginning, you were fucking lunatic. I am also drinking Lugene. I'm not obviously drinking both. As for a chocolate milk stout, which I know they're obviously preferred favorite Chris, I agree. Rich chocolate, I don't think it's as pronounced as like was a shake from or even Four Hands as chocolate milk stout.
Right.
Which it depends how you prefer your stouts, how you prefer your adjuncts. You want your adjuncts to really shine through and dominate the beer. You want them to kind of help complement it. There is the preference for both styles, and I think this one lends to the style of complementary to the overall beer feel instead of just dominating the body. Think of Little Beaver, adjuncts dominates everything.
And the thing with doing side by sides too is that the competition will either, bring something up or bring something down. It's like I expect the Seahawks defense to elevate what the Rams offense has been, especially against the Jets. But the side by side on this likely makes the Lugene show up even better because the Fultons, while again still drinkable, just kind of missed the mark a little bit for being that style of beer. I had expected it to be creamier, fuller, a little bit thicker. In comparison, it also may have shown up worse because it put up against the Lugene. I don't know because I don't have a benchmark here of something I've had, like a Four Hands, for example, to use as a baseline.
I'm not a huge fan of oatmeal kind of thing when it comes to the more common stout styles.
It doesn't lend anything other than body to the beer. So.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much for it. I mean, there's some good ones out there. It's just not. It's not my preferred.
Doesn't lend any flavor, really. It's
real malt heavy, isn't it? Just real malt. I get a lot of just bitterness when I.
Yeah, oats don't lend a whole lot to flavor or fermentation. They just add creaminess to the beer and a bit of body. The reason you get more malt heavy out of an oatmeal stout is because it's the malts that lend color to that. So if you have an oatmeal stout, you're typically not having a bunch of other adjuncts thrown on top of it.
Yeah.
And the malts are what lends the color there. So you should get a lot of roastiness and malt forward out of most oatmeal stouts.
That I do get.
Right on. Rams Seahawks. So we talked about DK Metcalf potentially being a sit. Rams giving up fewest points to wide receivers. Who's going to draw Ramsey?
Yeah, I mean, obviously difficult matchup. Metcalf is risen above it against Stephon Gilmore earlier this year. I think back in week 4, back when the Seahawks were still actually being productive on offense. I think that also kind of plays the hand with how we feel about Seattle as a whole. This offense sputtered. They not have looked great. I think they've seen a running game as come them. But divisional matchup at home also plays very well when the pressure's on. Metcalf is and it has become that go-to receiver. While I don't love his matchup, I'm still playing Metcalf. Have to ride out that. You just hope if you have obviously preferred players to play him, then probably lean differently, but that might be tough to do.
Breaking off, we got another quarterback question.
Ooh.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Jared's back again.
Yeah, from Jared. Ben Roethlisberger, Andy Dalton, or Matthew Stafford?
Stafford scares me with the emotions. It shouldn't scare me as much.
No, I don't think that should scare you as much. I'm going to throw out Dalton because the Eagles' defense has been actually okay.
Is this Stafford? Because Ben Bennett's looked fucking terrible the last few games.
Yeah, the Colts could be somewhat of a get-right game, but I'm more comfortable with Stafford in a game where they're going to have to throw a lot.
I don't feel it's great, though.
Yeah, I don't feel good about any of them, but it is a quarterback, too, that he's asking for. So it's super flex or 2 QB.
Yeah. I mean, Ben, over the last 3 games, those 3 losses, Ben, it's gotten worse every game. QB 14 against Washington, a QB 24 against Buffalo. He won't be as bad as he was last Monday night. I think it's Stafford.
Yeah, I think it is Stafford as well. Let me look at one other thing here real quick. I want to look at the Bucks and the Colts as far as points allowed to quarterbacks goes over the last few weeks. Colts giving up the fourth most points to quarterbacks over the last 3 weeks or 5 weeks. Sorry. Buccaneers though giving up the first most points to quarterbacks over the last. So there you go. It's Stafford.
All right. Where we at?
We're still on Rams Seahawks. We had just gotten done talking about the Metcalf bench. Chris Carson, also somebody that you can fade in that matchup. As far as receivers go, Robert Woods, we mentioned it before. Rams win by double digits. Woods is bad. Rams aren't going to win this one by double digits. So go ahead. You can play Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp does have floor to him. Cam Akers has blow-up potential.
He's out.
He's out?
Not going to play.
Darrell Henderson.
The Seahawks defense has been better. Like, this game feels a bit like this game could be a true shootout, or this game could end up being like a 12-10. All production. That's where this outcome comes from. That makes me a bit nervous to play some of these fringe players. Such a pivotal week.
Seahawks defense, middle of the road against running backs over the last 5 weeks. And
I mean,
fewest points allowed to wide receivers over that time frame.
It's insane. They're number one on this season as a whole.
Of course.
The past 4 games, they've been the best defense against.
Yeah, but they've also played Philly, the Giants, the Jets, and Washington. So there you go.
A little more to it than exactly.
Arizona before
Rams,
that, and the Rams before that. They haven't given up a double-digit wide receiver since week 10 or since week 9. Gabe Davis.
I mean, 47.5 over under. I mean, Vegas respects the improvement of the defenses on both sides, and how both offenses have kind of struggled, especially with consistency. We know what both offenses put out. Haven't seen that.
It's
at
still
least from a consistent level for the season.
Still think it's Woods. Metcalf is hard to sit, but I think that you can fade Metcalf pretty hard. Carson, RB2, Henderson, if you need to start a running back, could be okay in this one with no Akers.
What about Lockett?
Man, there's a guy that kind of fell off, huh?
One game is propelled. You talk about the Sammy Watkins of this year. Week 1 last year, remember, he put up DY receiver 1 week. Lockett did that against the Cardinals way back in the early part of the season.
Full PPR, he's been all right, actually. Full PPR is consistently giving you 11-plus points.
So, since that blow-up game, 7.3 against San Fran, 8 points against Buffalo, 11-21 against Rams and the Cardinals again.
If I told you Tyler Lockett was on pace to have the exact same season he had last year, would you believe me?
Yes, I do. I think that he's never lived up to the full-on wide receiver 1 billing. He's a great complement receiver, and we obviously see DK has elevated himself into that role. Like, you can kind of put Lockett and Metcalf in that same tier. Obviously, he has the easier matchup. He's not going to draw Jalen Ramsey as much as DK will. I think DK will draw him the entire game. This may be a better Lockett week.
I think it is going to be a better Lockett week. 5 receptions for 66 yards. I think Lockett's a wide receiver too in full PPR. I think he's a start there.
I think they're both starts for different. I think you're starting Lockett for floor and then DK for the upside.
I don't think you're starting DK. I am fading DK hard. There's situations where you're going to because it's DK, but like we recommended to sit at DK earlier. It's not an insta start for DK.
If in that situation you had better matchups to pivot to. And I think that's where you can treat both of these receivers.
Yep.
Because of where Lockett really he's been like a low end.
All right.
Yeah. Anyways,
Dan's fading. Let's keep it moving.
Let's go.
I think Dan's getting buzzed.
Probably.
Philly and Dallas. Miles Sanders again. Jalen Hurts. We talked about it at length. I don't think you can trust a wide receiver here. Philly is favored in this game. Dallas, you got to watch. Again, Zeke Elliott is kind of not inspiring. Now, he's not somebody we're going to recommend sitting this week, but he's not somebody that.
Do you really want to trust? I mean, if your team has Zeke, I don't know how close you are to a playoff championship.
Take it from me, you're not, but
I think you kind of hope that he's
running game's been fine against Philly. So, I mean, if he plays, you know he's going to get work. He's going to be an RB2. So, yeah, you're not. Yeah. That's what I mean by you can't recommend sitting him because Philly's not been good against the run. So, yeah, if Pollard plays, though, again, I think it's a better play. I like Pollard with the way Dallas is right now more than I like Zeke. As far as the receiving game for Dallas goes, that's tougher.
I guess Cooper, from what we've seen from him with Dalton.
Yeah.
I think last week was a bit difficult, but I think Cooper is that go-to. Game should be closer than Dallas had last week. I think you can play Cooper. Maybe that with heavy confidence.
Dallas won last week.
Did they win last?
Yeah,
they play
41-33. They beat
they played the Niners. I'm sorry, you're right.
They did win last week, mostly on the strength of Tony Pollard, who was just stupid heavily involved. Nobody. CeeDee Lamb was your leading receiver. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 85 yards.
He had that random.
And he had a random onside kick punt return.
Yeah.
Or onside kick return.
It was an onside kick.
But that's his first game going over.
That's what makes me nervous about
70.
How much Pollard got the.
Well,
Pollard gets work in this.
Even if he does, Philly's been bad enough to where I still think that he's at least a flex player. To give you an idea on Philly, 12.6 to Chase Edmonds, 15.4 to Kamara, 20.8 to Aaron Jones, 11 to Carson, 11 to Chubb, 18 to Gallman, going back to week 10.
This might be more of I want to play Pollard. I don't know how many championship spots are going to be. If you made it there, it's not because probably have better options. Well, this might be more of a kind of flex Pollard question instead of Zeke, where we kind of know you're there with them and you have to play him. He's a flex value. I think Pollard is more of the question. Can we trust Pollard after last week?
The thing is, though, with Zeke back, are you banking on Pollard's volume? That's where I have a problem with that take. Is you can.
Well, it's not more so of a take. It's more of a question.
I don't know that you can trust the volume that Pollard would get with Zeke back. Look that up real quick. I mean, Pollard was great, but you're trusting.
He had one big play.
You're trusting in. You're trusting in a championship week. He is heavily involved in the receiving game, but you're trusting in a championship week that he's suddenly going to get 9 targets again. I mean, carries jumped a bit versus Cincinnati, but before that he'd been single-digit carries and maybe a target a game, and you're trusting that that's going to go up if you're trusting Tony Pollard with Zeke healthy. And that's where I have a problem with doing that in championship week. If this was week 7, I would say, chase the points. They're going to have to use him. They're going to have to keep him on the field. With it being championship week, that's just such a gamble to take that they're going to shift volume if Zeke plays. You're hoping
that's how I still feel about Zeke, too. I think Pollard does command more. I think what Pollard showed last week as a receiver could take Zeke off the field in those pass catching situations, which is where more of your value floor points come from. Zeke, you're banking on a touchdown. Pollard, you're banking on the pass catching.
I just don't think you can do that in championship week. I completely see where you're coming from, and I don't inherently disagree with it. It's just so hard to make that call in week 16. I think that the hope is that Zeke doesn't play, so you have a clear answer.
Yeah, I'm sitting Zeke no matter what. I'm with you the same way that you're off of Pollard. I'm going to be off of Zeke. I just don't want to try. Either way, for Philly, Hurts, Sanders better matchup. He had the volume. It was a rough week for him last week. Never get the break. Hurts does provide. It opens up, I think, everything a bit more, but it also spreads the football a bit around. Sanders still gets involved. He's a big play machine. That's all he's been this year. You get a little bit of. It's been a struggle. It's a few series, and it takes one play, and man becomes an RB1 off of one play. I think that's where Sanders is. It's a really good matchup against Dallas. So I don't know if you agree. For me, for my Philly guy, it's Hurts and Sanders.
No, I completely agree that for Philly, it's Hurts and Sanders, and that's it. Titans, Packers.
Yeah, beat it up.
This is just fucking everybody.
Yep.
Not Valdez-Scantling, but other than that, it's
with the pulse.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody. Tannehill's a good flex. Rodgers obviously going. Aaron Jones, absolutely. Derrick Henry, hell yes. You're completely okay with A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, given some of the other weak matchups that are out there this week. And, Davis has been a little bit more boom bust than what Brown has been, but they both give you plenty of serviceable weeks. Devontae Adams, you're not sitting, and Alan Lazard is reclaimed his number 2 role after coming off of IR. It was good in a low volume passing game for 56, I think, last week. So he's in that flex wide receiver type play. Bills and Patriots. Josh Allen's incredibly hard to sit. It's not a fantastic matchup, but there's no way you're sitting Josh Allen. Devin Singletary is what he is every week. The Bills have found something working with Stephon Diggs. He's an automatic start. As for the Patriots go, don't get cute. Don't start any Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers for 4. That's it.
Yeah. Cole Beasley also been very good for the Bills, by the way.
I think Beasley is Beasley flex. Diggs will draw Gilmore. Diggs doesn't matter. He's an elite runner player. We'll be fine. Allen can't sit. About the running backs. Don't care about the tight ends. Yeah, that's
it.
That's the show.
That's a show.
Good fucking luck, guys.
Yep, good luck. We'll be here on Sunday. There will be a lot of questions. We'll give you a lot of answers. Try to do a little bit more analysis on this tonight because championship week. And we got to go out with a bang. It's last week of the last week of this format of the 2020 season. So Week 17, if you play in Week 17, you are wrong. We will still have a show next week.
And we will mock you for it.
Win is to be determined. And we will do something on that show. I don't know what yet. We may just do the awards then.
Yeah.
Because it's fantasy season awards. We can technically do it. Sure. We'll do a little playoff preview because we're still talking bets. So we may talk a little bit about what teams need to get into the playoffs, who has to play for that week. A little bit more NFL, less fantasy analysis probably coming your way on that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast all season long. Again, we still have the Sunday live stream, so we're not quite putting the bow on 2020 yet. That'll be the wrap on it for the fantasy season. But, it's been different like it is every year, but it's been a little bit more fun this year, I think.
It has been.
Still work to do, but it's been not quite as... The season felt like it went faster, and I don't really think I hit a dead point this year like I have in years past. So
it's been moments, but that's more so for beyond personal, how we generally feel about. We of course love the off season. We brought on a lot of guests this year. Something that I definitely want to do next year. Something that you guys are going to be expanded on. while we're going to give you guys a lot of part of this show, you are the hobbies we love, our everyday essential stuff.
More booze, still plenty of draft analysis, plenty of NFL analysis.
We love all that shit. We love the off season far more than the stuff. So you're going to get that. And a lot of those shows will be based around.
Yep.
Stay tuned. A lot of fun.
Potential rebrand, just some things to pay attention to. So.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, we don't have it all hashed out yet. As soon as we know, we'll let you guys know. Dan and I are going to try to sit down in person here sometime after the first of the year. And we do it every year. It's not anything different than what we've done since year one, where we sit down and kind of recap on what we liked and didn't like about the season and where we want to take the show. So,
exactly.
You will know as soon as we know, and we'll put it at the beginning of the show, not 2 hours and 10 minutes into it.
Yes.
So, all right. We'll see you now.
See you guys.